people know it's
Unscripted.
So what do we? Oh well, you want to start off with AEW little recap?
Yeah, because it was past.
Hit the pedal, man.
It was good.
It was.
I like the
decent.
pace. I like the pace of their shows now because I didn't like the shows before, and I don't mean that I was one of those idiots that was like, oh, AEW's the best ever, when they first came out or whatever. But my problem with some of their shows is like when they had banger after banger, even from the opening match. First of all, you set yourself up for disappointment if a future pay-per-view doesn't have a banger everything. Then it's like, oh, I'm let down, But and plus you get fucking tired. If the opening match fucking steals the show already, it's like I get one, in the locker room, the talent wants to be able to go back and go top that. I get that, but like it's also important to flow a card and slowly build it. And the last two pay-per-views, starting with Double or Nothing, and this one, Forbidden Door, because his favorite title. I like the first three matches were good, and that's all they were. But they weren't. It was nothing bad. They were solid. They were fine, and then it just kind of built, and then like the big matches like paid off. Like the ladder match for the TNT Championship was holy shit. That match was so good. And then
that
main event. I knew Swerve and Ospreay would be good, but I didn't think it was gonna be that good. But it does made a good point. There's still one match that Ospreay was in that hasn't been beaten yet this year, and I agree with him. Like even though he's been in great matches, but but no, Swerve and Ospreay, some of the stuff they did, I was like, holy shit, these guys. Like it was really cool. Like a lot of the stuff they did. Some of the counters I'd never seen before. And I guess kind of finding out behind the scenes afterwards, because he wore stuff that paid tribute to Hayabusa, and he reached out to Hayabusa's family and got their blessing to wear like his mask coming down and the tights with the sash tied to the side.
Yep.
And so that was really cool. That was really awesome. And I guess it was Ospreay's idea to have Swerve go over because like he didn't like the fact that, and they shouldn't read stuff online because that's where you get into trouble, right? If you just only follow the things people write online. But he read a lot of negative criticism online that Swerve's just a placeholder champion and he's keeping the belt warm for Ospreay, blah blah blah. So Ospreay's like,
we all
beat
said
me
it.
then.
Well,
so I like that. I like the fact, and Swerve needed the win. I think part of me wants Swerve to be heel because he's more comfortable as a heel, but then I don't because I don't want him to get lost in the shuffle because this Wednesday on Dynamite, MJF turned heel again. So it's like now we have like the alpha heel, which you really can't get better than him right now in AEW as far as heel is concerned. And
I don't get that. He just came back. Like, why don't you ride that a little longer? Only been a few weeks, right?
I think with the Adam Cole thing, I think it left a bad taste in everybody's mouth because he got injured. They couldn't capitalize on it. It's just, so he's over it. And I think MJF just went to Khan and just said, like, listen, dude, like I was going to ride that out as long as you wanted me to if it worked. But once Adam was out, I have to be out. Like I can't keep doing this.
That's where they would have gone, right? So they had to fast forward. I guess I can understand the purpose behind that.
Sure.
I wanted to ask you guys a question because you're talking about the banger after banger kind of match that AEW serves up, and it can get a little tiring. Do you think that might be a fault of, I don't want to say Tony of his hiring, but maybe more of his booking in the sense of we have different types of wrestlers out there, right? There are wrestlers that can kind of cool things down and build things back up and kind of, like if Jericho came out in match number 2, which I don't think he ever would because it's supposed to be the cool off match, he would.
And real quick, I'm glad you say that because the number one, MJF opened the card, which a lot of people had a problem with.
Wow, that's crazy too. I mean, he just came back. I don't understand any of that. He should have been higher up, but there's a lot of things that don't make sense to me there. But the other part of it is if you put the right people in the right places in those matches where they deliberately, maybe they just do a headlock for 10 minutes if they're going to have a 20-minute match anyway, just to like let that one match kind of like digest that just blew up the place and kind of get people kind of back down to earth and then build them back up again. There's people that can do that. And I just wonder if it's a discredit to the booking, the hiring, if that's something that could be fixed. I feel
they're more in control. I think they're more in control of their booking and storytelling now than they had been. Because before, I think that it was the shiny new toy. So when they would just throw all these matches out there, dream matches or not, they just rode with it. And it was like, and it worked out for a while. But then after a while, it's like, okay, good matches aren't the only thing that's going to get you over. You got to tie your television together. And then, it's like it's the WCW story. And then they got Thunder Collision. And then like it's the same thing. It's too much and it's way down. It's watered down. And now they're just finally Tony's not going to quit, obviously, so there's going to be no cancellation of him. So he's going to keep it going. Now he's got to kind of like come out of it. And it's going to take him a while. They're not going to shake this funk off. They're still going to be half empty arenas for the rest of the year. Like it's going to be that way until they get an angle that kind of captures everyone's attention, or they get a couple stars to the next level and get like a big star. So it just depends. It depends on what way they go. But I like the way that this was booked. And like Bryan Danielson against Shingo, that was excellent.
That was a good
like
match.
It wasn't the best match either one of them ever had, but it was really good. And it told the story, and it was third on the card cuz or something like that.
Yeah.
And it didn't need to be this barn burner. The trios match
Owen
was
Hart
good.
Foundation
It wasn't
match,
great.
Right? Owen Hart.
Yes.
Match,
I have a problem with that, so let me talk about that later. Then I have to say, listen, the women's division is so much better in AEW.
Good.
The last 6 months has just been the best.
Yeah, that was a good
that's
match.
not saying much, right? Because they were really on the bottom of the barrel. But they were really bad. I mean, it was really fucking bad. But I mean, like Toni Storm against Mina was really good. It was solid. Even Cuz and I were critiquing Mercedes because like she's good. She's super talented. Really, but I'll take that match, Cuz, in AEW over any fucking match that we saw the 2 years prior.
Yeah,
like, I mean, it was still really good. She's just rusty. She'll be fine. But she took on Stephanie Valkyrie.
She's really good.
Valkyrie, Valkyrie. She was really good.
Yeah, I liked her a lot.
So they got some stars there now, and they have a good. And you could tell someone's booking that women's division correctly. Like, probably. And they're slowing it down, and they're telling stories a little bit with the characters. Now, I love Toni Storm, but like she's a face. No, like she needs to be a fucking face. Like at this point, it's like stop pushing her as a heel because she's fucking over as fuck. Like it's not even like close.
She could be that badass face. Like I mean, for lack of a better term, Stone Cold. Nobody's Stone Cold, but you could be that Stone Cold face and still be that Toni Storm kind of bitch. But you're fighting the bad girls.
Hell, like, he don't know his head from a hole in the ground. He ain't got a clue.
She came out as dressed as a Statue of Liberty, which is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that was funny. That was good though. That was really good.
She's just the best. Like
she is. She's really good.
The best right now.
And Mina was awesome. God dang. Like that.
Yeah,
that
she was awesome.
That match was really good. That was a good match.
It was hard hitting. I love Storm's matches because they fucking hit hard and they don't care, and I love it. So even if you mess a couple spots up, you're still being really stiff and into it. So I love it. You could have a non-perfect match, and not have the most beautiful spots or whatever. But if you're just stiff with it and you guys look like you're really going at each other, I love that stuff. Like that keeps me engaged. And like I said, Mercedes and Stephanie, they were really good too. Like excellent. Both their matches were excellent.
They were good.
And finally, but fast forwarding to Dynamite, she finally turned heel, Sasha did, which is where she belongs. And like instantly, by the way, when Britt Baker came out and Sasha started doing her normal heel stuff, instantly I was like, how are you so much better right now? How is everything that you're saying completely making sense? Everything looked great about her, like that whole thing. And when she did the hand to the face thing and everybody reacted, I was like, dude, that's fucking what she needed to be from the beginning. Like nobody wants you to be face. You're terrible. Like you're just terrible as a face. But instantly, I mean, snap of a fingers, I was like, Sasha Banks? Like that's what I saw in her. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Like I know she'd get mad at me for that because she did an interview saying like, I never identified with Sasha. That's not my real name. I'm like, no shit. Hulk Hogan wasn't his real name either. Like we all know that.
Yeah, brother, actually was.
Yeah,
my name was Sasha.
That's one part. She just needs to let it go. Like you kind of continue to crap on the company you left. It's like just let it go.
Yeah, because you're going to leave after your AEW contract.
Incredibly successful as Sasha Banks. It was fine. Like settle down.
She'll gladly take that name.
And
back
the only reason why Tony Khan is still shipping suitcases of money to your house is because of the exposure you got at the big WWE. That's why. That's the only reason why.
100% true. That's the only part that I get irritated with at this point with her situation. Is like,
she'll be back.
And, I think we kind of touched base on it last week because Hook is so much more tolerable when he's with someone like Samoa Joe. Yeah. They're so funny together. I think they're great.
It's just
and that match, the Learning Tree against Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata, that was really good too. Like
Jericho, supposedly, if it was on Ryback's podcast, but he has his insider guy that he always talks with on there. Supposedly, Tony Khan is kind of he's not jiving with the Learning Tree of Jericho.
Really?
Supposedly,
but what does he want?
Like quietly, what does he want Jericho really to be at this in agreement with him anymore. Like kind of like maybe they want his contract to run out and just be done with him.
Oh, like Jericho's run his, but he has run his course though.
They said he's kind of like he's not being quiet about it. I guess backstage or something. Tony Khan.
Oh wow, Tony Khan's getting one of his balls dropped.
Yeah.
Just one.
Maybe. Yeah, but I mean, we don't know. We don't know.
The voice.
Yeah,
deepens.
right. But I mean, he has run his course. Or Jericho needs to take a break for a while.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like because he's fatigued. He's been nonstop in that promotion since the beginning, and
just
like
be a backstage
he's reinvented.
You know?
Yeah, like he's done like right now, like in the ring. He's just kind of boring. I'd love for him to go and get in the Hall of Fame in WWE and call it a fucking career.
But yeah, supposedly him and Triple H don't. Like I guess when they had the best friends with KO thing, you know, that whole angle. I guess
was a great angle.
Yeah, it was
I
a great
remember
angle.
Jericho was pissed that he was on second.
Well,
he was like, if you wanted to open up Mania with me and KO, no problem. Because if you're not last, I'd rather be first. You know, he's like, but he's all second on the fucking show. He's like, what the fuck is that? So he was mad. Like from that moment, he was pissed off. Like he told Vince how pissed he was, and that's disrespectful to me. And I feel like you spit in my face. Like it's like, oh
yeah,
shit.
because he said when Vince had control of their angle, he said him and Vince were in agreement with everything. But then when Triple H took it, he said, like
that's because I mean, quite frankly, Jericho knew how to manipulate VKM. We all know this. Like the way he talks about it is like, I can sit down with Vince and just pitch him some great ideas. He wouldn't take all of them, but he would take one that I wanted. And he knew how to talk to him. Triple H, I mean, I hate to say it, if you're Chris Jericho at that moment, even though you're with Kevin Owens, you're still at WrestleMania. That's number one. So let's get that straight. 2, second match on the card kind of makes sense in your career at that moment. I was just talking about it earlier on a card, that second match. If it's going to be a good match, it needs to be something that needs to kind of smolder down and then build back up and burn again, which Jericho could totally do that. He knows how to do that.
Jericho,
So
like, he's talented.
We're doing this, we're putting you in that spot because we're depending on you to bring it down and then burn it back up again. And I'm sure that was explained to him, but the fact of the matter is that he could have manipulated Vince to put him on first, and Triple H probably wasn't having that. We've all had our problems with Triple H.
Well, Vince has also had a soft spot for the people that kind of were from the Attitude Era, and Jericho jumped ship before. Jericho jumped ship before WCW was bought, and Vince, he successfully allowed Vince to break him down and build him back up, because Vince had that thing for a while where he'd bring you over, he'd break you down, and then build you back up. And Jericho passed his test, so Vince loved Jericho for years. Like after that, like Jericho was always like one of his go-to.
Well, Jericho took it and ran with it, so this totally makes sense. Kind of make some tweaks here, very involved, and I think they had that's just a good relationship, right? Where there's some people that just like, Vince, you're going to do this today, okay, and that's it. That's the end of the discussion. Vince's like, well, you're not giving me anything to work with, so I guess I'm just going to have to tell you what to do. I don't think Vince wants that either, or wanted that either. So, it's just, I think Triple H at this point too, what he's brought. I know we're getting off the card a little bit, but not only is he able to tell people this is what it is, but he's also way more approachable. It's like, hey, I want to try something different. Can I do something else? Okay, what do you have in mind? Let's see if it's going to work. Where Vince was less approachable unless you knew how to do it, and nobody ever explained how to do that with someone who was just the biggest, the cock of the walk, the biggest dude in the room. Like Triple H just seems like there's a way better, more, fundamental environment for creativity, where everyone else got to the point like they were like, yeah, okay, Vince, whatever you want, and none of that was working. But to tell someone like Jericho you're going on second, I'm sure he understood why. He just didn't like it.
One of their almost over feuds, because that feud was super over, especially with the list and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. You just made the list, 100%.
They were super. They were all super over. But and then we have the ladder match, which probably was the best match on the card. I mean, Swerve and Ospreay was close. For the vacant AEW, I Takeshita powerbombed Lio Rush so fucking hard on that ladder in the corner. I've never seen. He bounced like, I was like, oh my, like I just couldn't even believe it. Like in my mind, I was like, he's not gonna fucking full on powerbomb him.
Was there like 20 people in that match, Jess?
When he set it up, yeah, there was like 4 or 5, like a normal Money in the Bank.
Okay.
So they leaned the ladder up against the corner, and I thought Leo was going to run up it and do something cool. Like, so I was like, oh, I can't wait for this, right? And then when Takeshita grabbed him and then put him in the powerbomb position, I was like, he is going to bounce so high. That's all I knew in my head because of just physics. And then he powerbombed him so fucking. I've never seen someone get powerbombed that hard.
Ladder.
Like, and into a fucking ladder, and he bounced, and I was like,
because it was the ropes and also the adhesion of the ladder, right? Just kind of.
And Leo, I thought Leo was dead. I don't think he did anything for the rest of the match. Like I was really legitly, I was like, I don't think he can move. Like I think that he got fucked up so bad on that. And Briscoe is fucking so wonderfully crazy. Like he was awesome. He got to do some things that I love, just that the Briscoes have always done. Like they're good wrestlers, and like they can get in there and fight and do crazy shit. And he did some awesome stuff as well.
Everything.
Yeah, he was awesome. Man. Like he was really good. And I like that Jack Perry won. Jack Perry reminds me so much of loose cannon gimmick from Brian Pillman. I don't know why. It's his look, it's his demeanor, it's the way Brian Pillman acted.
It's
like
changed,
it was
man.
to me.
that
I'm like,
too.
Jesus, like. But
when he was all like, that's real glass. Yeah, I'm like, that's Pillman. Like,
well, when he first turned back, like I was concerned when he first turned heel before he got suspended. His suspension and then him thinking about things and coming back as a scapegoat. To me, he got it. Like the light went on.
That's what he
because
needed.
like I felt like he wasn't going to be good as a heel right off Jungle Boy because we couldn't take him seriously. He was a clean-shaven, skinny guy.
Yeah.
Like, we're like, what the fuck are you? You're not mean. Nobody cares about you. And then when he went away and came back as a scapegoat and he doesn't talk much, he just kind of glares at people. He also reminds me of, remember when Brett hugged Owen when they reformed the Hart Foundation and Brett had that scowl on his face, like telling the fans to fuck themselves, like, or whatever. Cause it was so like, he does looks like that. And I'm like, dude, I feel he's onto something. If they don't jump the gun with him, like he's going to be special. Like I can see Jack Perry in a year or two getting a world title run and like being up there, like in the world title picture, like if they keep him going. He's putting size on and everything too. He's starting to get a little bigger. Like, so he's trying to put a little bit of size on and everything. So I like what they're doing a lot with a lot of their things. And then we talked about the Mercedes match. Moxley and Naito was awful.
It was
like
bad.
Naito's just done. He's awesome and he's a legend and he needs to be celebrated. But he can't do it anymore.
Naito now?
Like,
I don't even know.
He's 77, I think they said on the paper.
I don't know.
Always do that.
He's like in his 40s.
But well, I mean, I don't even care about the number. It's the beating that his body's been through all these years. He has done some revolutionary stuff. Like there's nothing negative you can say about him. It's just they didn't mesh and it was bad.
Yeah,
and it was 17 minutes and I was like, what are you doing? Like they weighed the pay-per-view down. After that ladder match, I was like, everything from here needs to go like and be smooth. And of all matches, Moxley and Naito were the get let up, give me a beer match. And I was like, fuck, dude, like how
he's 42 according to Wikipedia, if I'm looking at the right.
He's been in at
right.
least.
But what I'd say is like his body is not 42. That makes sense.
He's been in like 900 car wrecks.
Yeah,
like basically,
right.
like
100%. Yeah.
And Moxley's no spring chicken anymore either. Even though I like Moxley. Like Moxley, if you don't mesh with him and give him something to work on, like he's not going to like respond sometimes. And even though he's done some great stuff, and you got to match up perfectly with Moxley. And not that Moxley's not good. I love his character. I love the John Moxley versus the Dean Ambrose stuff. Like I think Moxley found himself. I love when a wrestler goes and they find themselves and this is their groove and they enjoy it. And I think if Moxley ever does go back to WWE, which of course he's going to one day, he's going to be a so much better Dean Ambrose over there than he ever was before. But because of the John Moxley stuff that he did. But this match was not it. And it was bad. I was like, dude.
Do you feel like they didn't even get a chance to like communicate or maybe there was a lack of communication?
They've wrestled, but I want to say they've wrestled before in Japan. I think they have. They've done stuff before. But maybe not a lot. But again, Moxley's not like this. I wouldn't trust, I trust Ospreay to get in there with anybody. I trust Daniel Bryan to get in there with anybody. I trust, I don't know.
You don't trust Mox to do that.
I don't trust Mox to do that. And that's not a knock on Mox. Like Mox is very heavily favored on styles. Yeah. And Moxley has charisma. He fucking the ovation he got on Dynamite was huge. And he got a huge ovation at the pay-per-view. Like that was a star ovation that he got. Like people were chanting Moxley.
He's not that wrestling chameleon that we talk about with
his new song.
If you don't match up with him,
though.
I know. I can't fucking stand it. I can't believe they took that song Wild Thing away. But then the main event, Swerve Strickland pinned Will Ospreay in 27 minutes. The match was really good.
I was honestly really
really good.
I'm glad it went the way it did.
What do you fucking say? The double stomp on the outside. When you see spots like that spot, the spot I'm talking about because the double stomp. So normally Swerve lays him down on the ground and then he does the double stomp on them. He went to do it on the apron on Ospreay, but Ospreay rolled off like, aha, I gotcha, but he was still selling. And then he leaned up against the announce table and Swerve stomped him from the top rope. He jumped and stomped him onto the announce table.
Yeah.
And the way they did it, I almost feel that if I'm not trying to shit on AEW on situations like this, but if the WWE production company did it, you wouldn't have saw Ospreay jump because AEW kept the single shot because they didn't want to miss it. Like Ospreay had to jump up when, like, it's hard to describe. Like, if Ospreay's standing on the table, when Swerve came off, Ospreay had to go, no problem, and jump up and so he can get him on the table. If WWE did it, they would have done a cut, and you would have just saw him land on the table, and people would have lost their minds or whatever. I mean, the place went crazy, but, like,
that was
it's just little small things like that I will, like, side with WWE on, where I'm like, that's the genius of the television show that WWE puts on,
it's
because
production. They know.
Yeah,
They know.
they know
They
the
know
production.
just the rights to it.
I love spots
No
like that
angles.
because like you kind of see. I don't know if you could ever practice it, and maybe they never talked about it, or maybe Swerve's like, I don't know, maybe one point I get you on the announce table and I double stomp you, and maybe Ospreay was thinking like, yeah, I'll stand up and I'll do it. Maybe Swerve was like, he'll be laying on the announce table, and I think when they both did it, they were like, I'm just gonna make it fucking happen. I mean, that's how amazing they both are. Is like, so it's really cool for me to see stuff like that. It reminds me of like when people like RVD was in his prime, and even Hayabusa and people like that. They did stuff back in the day that was a little clunky, but like you were like, the thought behind it was genius and the spot was genius. RVD did that all the time with Jerry Lynn and ECW. Like some of the stuff they did was like, it was like slightly clunky, but like it was real believing, and you could tell they were working like not just wrestling moves. They were revolutionizing shit. People would see RVD and Jerry Lynn, and that's why they became wrestlers today. Like that's how influential. Like, so I love that we see someone like Swerve and Ospreay doing stuff like that. And someone right now who's young is going to become a professional wrestler because of things that they see Swerve do and Ospreay do. And I love it when I see stuff like that. That's what kind of match they had. It didn't like. Again, I wouldn't say it was match of the year because Ospreay apparently won't fucking stop having great matches. So one of his matches are bound to be. But like it was so good to see both of them. Swerve needed it. I'm glad he got the pin.
He did.
Ospreay doesn't need it. Ospreay doesn't need it, and if Ospreay, and it's actually looking like it's going to be Adam Page against Swerve at All In, because Adam Page, which is my fucking I love the feud. By the way, that feud's awesome. Yeah, that feud's awesome. So they're going to tear the house down. I'm really fucking bummed that Jarrett didn't advance, but because after the promo that he gave about Owen, which was fucking terrible in the best way possible. Like I suck that they dropped the ball, but in Tony Khan's defense, he said the winner of the Owen Hart Cup this year gets a title shot at All In before Jarrett did that promo. So it's like, it's almost like that promo was too good, and then they aired it, and then Khan's like, I can't have you win it now. What are you going to go to All In and main event against, Swerve? Yeah. I can't have you do that. Like, you're 50-something years old, and like nobody, people like Jarrett, don't get me wrong, but he's not like the inspirational story right now or anything like that. So yeah, it's like, I kind of was bummed about that, but I was like, God, you fucking feed him to Paige. Like when Paige returns, they're like, your mystery partner, Paige. I'm like, oh fuck, well Jarrett's losing. Like I knew that, but I would love it. Like I like Paige as a heel, and I love him in Swerve feuding.
Yeah,
so
their feud is good.
I'm kind of glad. So Ospreay will probably have a banger match with. Some people are saying it's going to be Ospreay and Okada. At All In.
That'd be awesome.
That's what some people are saying. That's going to be Ospreay and Okada. That now that he's trying to get out of the Callis family, like the elite's going to start picking on him because he's a loser and like he can't. Oh, you don't want to be in a group or whatever. And then he's going to challenge Okada, and then they're going to have. So they're going to marquee it with Swerve and Page and Okada, and
that would be good.
And because that's their only like. To try to match their ticket sales from last year, that's their only shot right now.
Yeah,
they've sold like 48,000 or something last I saw, which it's still a month and a half away or whatever. So you got 2 months away. So, but you got some work to do if you're going to sell 80 or close to it.
Yeah.
Like if they sell under 60,000, it's going to look funny on TV. So they need to get like at least 60 in there.
What'd you say they're at 40?
Like 48.
Okay.
Last I read.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're at 48,000. So, but still, like they were not that far behind at this time last year.
Yeah,
so, and business is down. So their business is down. So no surprise. But I mean, if they get, I think they've already passed the break even point. I think Khan last year said like 40,000 breaks me even. So they're over the break even point. But to look good on TV, you want 60.
Yeah, you want to.
Yeah, you got to get close to 60. Yeah,
you did it last year. Now you don't want to make it look like fuck. Yeah, because
because now you have nothing to say this year. You can't say it's the biggest crowd because you said that last year, and then now if you don't even come close to selling those tickets, what are you going to say this year?
Yeah.
Welcome to the event.
I mean, that amount of people will still look cool at a non-WWE show.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That whole arena. Yeah. They could do the stage differently and just tarp off the right places. Or
still be loud.
Whatever, so.
It'll still be loud.
And then we got a little Money in the Bank tomorrow, huh? I'm excited.
We got a doubleheader. We got Money in the Bank and then NXT Heatwave on Sunday.
I thought it was next week for some reason. I didn't know it was
doubleheader.
Oh fuck, I didn't know that.
We got a doubleheader weekend, baby. It's gonna be great.
In the men's ladder match, they opened up SmackDown tonight. By the way, Jey Uso takes on Carmella Hayes, takes on Andrade, takes on Chad Gable, takes on LA Knight, takes on Drew McIntyre. Listen, I'm wearing the shirt of the motherfucker who's gonna win the Money in the Bank.
Yep.
I wish that everybody. Drew's the best. That's gonna be a fucking great match. I can't see it.
It's just the best because CM Punk's gonna cost it.
It's so perfect. I don't know how. Again, I said it last week. I don't know how that's feud of the year, and they haven't touched yet. They're the best. Like they really both are.
That would intensify it even more if Punk cost them the money. That would.
I would just start belly laughing, even though I love Drew. Like just to imagine how mad he's going to be.
Yeah, no, I know. That's what I'm saying. Is like, how is he not just killing people?
I feel like he's got to win.
Well, a lot of people are saying. We'll go through the rest of the card, but a lot of people are saying that Damien's going to retain somehow against Seth, and then Drew's going to come and cash in right away against Damien, and Punk's going to come out from under the ring and fuck him up.
Yeah, that might be funny. Well, see, I think the drama might be the maybe the Judgment Day actually turning on Damien and letting Drew win. If that happens.
See, yeah, there's so many good storylines.
So many good storylines.
I think they're going to interfere, and he's going to win again, and that's going to be the problem. But what would be really funny to your point is like if Drew tried to cash in and CM Punk fucked it up before he could, and that way he still keeps it, but you're still fucking up his options every time. Every time, and just keep letting them fucking go. That'd be great. But on a side note, I was telling Jess about this before we recorded. Like that DM Hunk shirt is hilarious.
It is. It's fucking great.
I was telling Jess, like,
Hunk? So good.
Anybody else would have taken this story that's coming their way, like you're going to win the title and then you're going to immediately lose it at WrestleMania, and they would have said okay, but they would never have been able to work the story out and be this over other than Drew McIntyre at this moment. Like he has embraced it. He's amazing. He's doing such a great job.
Because I didn't like him. I didn't like him the first time that he was there. The whole chosen one with Vince. I was like, whatever.
Yeah,
and then,
that was bad.
I think you told me I think you told me, hey, do you watch TNA still? And I was like, not so much anymore because the TNA had fallen off, pretty bad. You're all Drew McIntyre's back there and he looks really good. And so then I started kind of watching him there. And then when he came back to NXT, I was like, I fucking love Drew. Like he reinvented himself. And then him and Andrade had that fucking killer match.
Dude.
And some people to this day say it's the greatest NXT match of all time.
It's still one of the, got
it. Yeah. So I was like so excited. Then when he came back, I was like, I didn't believe in Vince anymore. And I remember specifically that Royal Rumble. I was like, bullshit. They're going to fuck me tonight. They're going to fuck Drew. And then Cuz was like, nope, tonight he's going to win. I was like, they're not going to fucking do it. They won't fucking do it. And then that was the one where Brock went in as number one and did that whole fucking amazing, one of the greatest Royal Rumbles ever, by the way. I feel that Rumble is. And then when Drew won,
you'll never see that again. It's amazing.
I ran out of Cuz's garage fucking screaming when Drew won, because I was like, I can't believe they fucking did it. They pulled the trigger fucking finally. I was like, and then, the pandemic happened. That sucks, blah, blah, blah. And then here we are now. And you have Triple H, who's so smart, booking to his frustration. He was a little frustrated during the pandemic. He was a little frustrated that maybe he didn't get to be the Drew McIntyre he wanted to be when he was champion. And then now he's just fucking saying what he thinks, and everything he does on social media is hilarious. He is the uncrowned champion. I will fucking say it again. He's going to be your Money in the Bank holder tomorrow, and he's going to win the goddamn title. And fuck you, CM Punk, you fucker.
I like it.
I love it. Everything they do, both him and Punk, I'm like, this is gold. I can watch it all day long. It's the best.
And everyone in the match, it's just even Andrade. I like how he came out kind of like. But did you watch SmackDown tonight?
Yes.
Yeah. At the beginning, he's kind of started talking like, "Hey, Chico," kind of getting more of a personality.
Chico.
Trying to get more of a personality. So hey, that's good. And then Chad Gable, he's man, he's up there now. What a smart move on him. I don't know if you guys remember, but 2 years ago or last year, I guess Triple H wanted to start pushing Gable as a single competitor, starting his own, push singles, and he was going to separate him from Otis. And Gable's all, no, I want to stay with Otis because I think there's a lot more we can do here. Hey, you know what? He gambled on himself and he made it work. Now look at him.
Otis is he's got the automatic sympathy card. The big lovable guys get the most sympathy. Yeah. It's crazy. Because if you're a big killer, you have to be a heel almost all the time. Because if you're a face, nobody believes.
And those heels don't last.
They don't. And that's why Braun Strowman has such a hard time. I mean, he gets injured a lot, because he's a big fucking dude. And he's got to carry all that fucking weight and mass around. But I mean, he is so talented, and he didn't get a chance to mature. They kind of cut the Wyatt family with him short, and so he didn't get a chance to really blossom. And then when they finally were finding their groove with him, his feud with Roman Reigns was excellent.
Dude, I love that.
Their last man standing match was really good, and their ambulance match was good too.
With you.
Some of the bright spots of the shit PG era was those two. I remember really enjoying their matches, but he was trying to figure it out, and then it's just goddamn. If he's a face, which he is now,
I know I'm not saying all the smaller guys should always be a face, but I mean you always want to see the face in peril so you can root for them and make sure they get up.
Yeah.
Like when you need them to get up. And just a big guy like Braun, I just have a hard time believing when he's crawling on the mat trying to sell him.
He
like
also,
you're not fucking hurt.
he can't run the ring square like he used to either when he's just pulling people.
And that's why when
line.
people get mad, they only
the
book
same.
Lesnar against top stars. And the only reason why they book him is when they do turn Lesnar heel. If he's going to be in peril, he needs to be in peril against someone the size of the Undertaker or Roman Reigns, or because you can't. I don't believe that Chad Gable.
Believe it any other way.
Yeah, I don't believe that Chad Gable's going to control a match over Brock Lesnar if Lesnar's face and Gable's heel. It's not going to happen. So it's like you have to.
He touched too much reality. Remember when someone asked him a question about would you ever get in the ring with Connor? He's like, dude, I think shit's bigger than that guy. What are you talking about? I know you guys all have your dream matches and you play on the
I kill him.
video games. He's like, well, I'll kill that guy. Are you serious?
I'll kill him.
Like.
And by the way,
I would kill him.
he's lurking in the dark somewhere because they pretty much cleared him for the most part.
I'm scared.
They've kind of they've calmed his name down, and he's going to come out one of these days like a fucking wrecking ball.
But it won't be Money to Make, in my opinion. It's got to be one of the big four. So SummerSlam's got to be.
It's going to be one of the big ones.
Got to be Royal Rumble, right?
SummerSlam, we might see him at SummerSlam.
But do you bring him back before? Do you promote him at a Raw or before you do it? That's my question. Or you bring it. Or is he a surprise entry at the Rumble and wins it? I don't know.
What if when Drew goes to cash in, you just hear Brock Lesnar music? Like, oh fuck,
fuck you, Brock Lesnar.
Right.
And he has Brock Lesnar has a BL Punk shirt on. I'm like, fuck you, BL Punk.
So what matches have you announced? Sorry, I was detained for a moment.
I did the men's one, and then the women's Money in the Bank ladder match is Io Sky, Chelsea Green, Valkyrie, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and Zoe Stark. I think it's Stratton time.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's Tiffy time. I was happy that Zoe got in. When I saw that match, I was like, I really want Zoe to get in there.
Chelsea Green, by the way, is super fucking funny.
Oh, dude, on SmackDown tonight, she was
Chelsea
fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
They need to keep her on TV as much as possible.
And Matt Cardona is a lucky man.
That's true. Good for him.
She's in shape. And Io Sky's awesome. She's gonna do some crazy shit.
Io Sky, yep.
The Io Sky now, I actually kind of like
her. Yeah, her and Tiffany
holding the title because it's like she comes down as like the drunken warrior, and you're seeing more of her talent. And because when she was more of a chicken shit heel, you didn't see the talent. It was constantly being, kind of, subdued by her faction, where they would take care of things for her, which is what you're supposed to do. But I love the Io Sky of now because it reminds me of NXT days because it knows exactly what I'm talking about.
And they're making them more edgier now, like all the damage control. They're starting to get more pissed and angry about everything. So I
definitely
like it.
miss Asuka though.
It's gonna.
Asuka.
I know.
I hope she comes back soon.
I saw. I don't know how reputable this article was, but I hear they say that she's out for the whole year.
Yeah,
basically.
she's gone for a while.
Yeah.
I think Io and Tiffany though they're going to be the highlights of that match. Tiffany, I'm telling you, Tiffany.
I think Tiffany's gonna. I think it's her time. I think
she's going to do the fucking swanton from the ladder to the outside of the ring. Like, watch, she's going to do.
Tiffany has no business being that damn talented that soon.
Yeah,
she's incredible.
She's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Well,
I try to tell her, I'm all babe. Watch this moonsault. It's one of the best moonsaults in the business.
The prettiest moonsault. That's what she calls it. The prettiest moonsault ever.
The prettiest moonsault. But I mean, I've said it over and over. But it's like look, Tiffany's good looking. Everybody talks about that. She's gorgeous, whatever. But that that moonsault, it pops up twice with all that balance, and then when she hits it, it with really effort force. It's not. She's not over.
It's not like a little Zelina Vega
and hitting them with her shoulder.
Like
she's hitting them with like leg, thigh, torso, like boom. I'm like, it's beautiful. Like all 100% of it. There's nothing wrong with it.
She just gets it.
On top of all the things that you do to prep for it, to bounce, boom, and go. Like that's really hard to do. And they're only scratching the surface of her talent in that ring with that one move. But yeah, it's definitely Tiffy time. I can't see her not getting that and then walking around with it. The only thing that would be funnier is if what'd you say? Chelsea wins it and she touts it around all year round.
That would be funny.
The TV time would be amazing. If that happens where she wins it on a fluke, I would not be upset. But I think it's definitely Tiffy time. But those are my winner and my dark horse winner is definitely Chelsea.
I think both the ladder matches are going to be.
It'd be off the chain.
Last chance match for the World Heavyweight Championship. If Seth Rollins cannot win the title here, he will never get a rematch as long as Damien's champion.
That's exactly right. He already gave it away with that stipulation. The way he said
it,
I feel that Damien's still champion.
I feel that Damien's going to retain, and then McIntyre is going to come back and try to get his revenge for WrestleMania, and maybe we'll see Punk, and maybe we won't. Stay at home, Punk.
But like I said, the Judgment Day, that's the other side of it too.
Yeah, you have the Judgment Day
God.
drama that's playing out as well.
All the fucking storylines man, are really good.
You know, it'd be great for Drew in that it would somewhere down the line if he does try to cash in, CM Punk interferes and he wins anyway, and he takes care of Punk and then handles. But it totally craps on the current champion. Unfortunately, Damian gets, but he already is kind of getting crapped on.
I mean, time to.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a big mistake to separate him from Judgment Day, though. I think he actually.
I think so too.
I think he does.
Well,
it
won't separate him yet. He'll stay there. I mean, he won't because he's not going to lose the set. So that stipulation.
That's true, though.
Matter.
That's true. Yep, you're right.
It won't. He's not going to lose. He's going to get help though. He's going to get help.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I didn't read the rest of it. You're right. And if Priest loses, he must leave Judgment Day.
Yep.
Yeah. The next match here is I know it's Cuz's most interesting match.
I think
so. Mine too. Sami Zayn defends the IC title against Braun Breaker.
That's gonna be oh my god.
This is Braun's chance. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. This is his chance. He's got a big match on a big pay-per-view against a top talent who knows the locker room, knows the rhythm.
How does he not win unless there's some big schmoz of interference somewhere? How does Braun Breaker not win that match?
I could kind of see this that we're being like the veteran.
I could see that Braun being so angry because you know the character on Raw is like he's just unhinged a little bit and he gets irritated like when they don't give him matches he wants.
Do you think they'll give him a DQ or something?
So I think I think if anything it'll probably be a fast roll up, which I'm not a big fan of the corny fast roll ups or whatever. But I mean, like if you get
over DQ,
if you get where Sammy is like really just desperate or whatever, and he just catches him with a fast cradle, and that makes Braun snap, like I'm fine with that too. Because I don't necessarily think you need to put the IC title on Braun yet. I think what they're doing with Braun and Triple H, we've talked about it for weeks on end now. He doesn't rush anything. So whatever thing he's telling about Braun right now, I think he's comfortable telling. Who knows?
Braun,
maybe he is gonna get the IC title and then go on. That's the story of Braun. He's gonna be champ for like a year, 2 years, whatever. Like
Gunther's record.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows? Well, like at this point, so there's a lot of different things you could do.
Sammy beating Gunther was the story because it was Gunther losing after all that time. Sammy overtaking that was big for Sammy. Sammy doesn't need to go on a 2-year run.
I wonder what they're doing with Gunther. I know he won the crown, but like they didn't. He's not on this pay-per-view. Like I don't understand. Like sometimes what they do. I know they want to. I know they want to give people rest, but I mean, like I feel like they're cooling him off,
keeping him special.
Yes, they are.
Well, I don't know though. I don't know if he's special. I mean, right now, like without being active, he's young.
Not like a Brock Lesnar at that level, but
not everybody can.
That's what I mean. He loses his streak, which doesn't hurt him. But I mean, like he goes nowhere. He wins the crown, okay. And I was like, oh, maybe he'll go have a feud with Orton because he needs that high profile kind of exposure. That'd be great. And then they just don't do it. And I'm like, okay, what are they doing?
Because he's facing the world heavyweight champion at SummerSlam.
But I mean, I would think that they would keep him warm, like they would keep him relevant instead of just quieting him down. It's weird. Maybe he'll do something.
He comes out and confronts them every once. Rollins and Priest.
Yeah, maybe he'll do something on this pay per view or whatever, or have a interview segment or something.
I think he still has that mystique, so where it's okay to kind of keep him off for a little bit, and because everyone knows, like, he's looming in the in the dark.
I think that's going to be the testament of great wrestlers in the future is to be able to take a little bit of time, let them cool off, and come back and blow the place up again. Something that Brock has done for years.
Yeah.
Something Cena's been able to do. And wrestlers did it by moving federations. Just we talked about. You go to WCW, you get over, you cool off. You came back to WWF, you were hot again because where's he been for a year?
And you do that with certain guys. Do that with certain guys like Gunther.
Certain guys would do that.
McIntyre.
I think Gunther
also
could
too.
Do that.
He wasn't on Clash of the Castle either.
No.
So I don't understand.
He came out the next night on Raw. He came out after that.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's on the weekly television, but like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm
it seems like they're doing that.
And they can't do everything right, right? There's going to be. I'm not saying that they can't do everything right all the time. It's just like
it seems like
not everybody can have a match at WrestleMania. Not everyone could be on top all the time. You have to give some breathing room for their talent to do what it has to do.
That's what it seems like.
He ran forever.
I know he was. I mean, he was. He was on top for the last.
I think he needs
2.5 years.
Cool and come back.
And who is he getting? He's getting the shot at the world heavyweight champion, right?
Yes, at SummerSlam. Whoever wins, right?
That's what I'm saying. So it's like it seemed like what we said before.
Him and Drew. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that would steal the show. It seems like they're doing what we've said before, though, like how UFC gives guys. Obviously, they give them breaks. Not every title.
I hate the fantasy
every
book,
pay-per-view every month.
What if Damian wins out by the skin of his teeth at SummerSlam because Gunther puts him through a grueling match and then McIntyre just comes up and just takes it from us?
I mean, it could be SummerSlam too. Yeah, it could be at SummerSlam. It doesn't have to be at Money in the Bank.
Because Gunther's gonna, if Gunther and Damian are meeting at SummerSlam, like Gunther's gonna,
or to give,
him.
because you always can't have the heel like always losing out. What if McIntyre kind of gets his wish, he gets the world title, and then Punk costs him it at SummerSlam, and then they keep going like at that point.
That would
like,
be fucking funny.
Drew can get his comeuppance for a minute and then get it taken away. He's like, God damn it! Like
every time,
I think that would be either way. Either he doesn't get it at all, or he gets it for a minute, and Punk won't let him enjoy it.
We're seeing the best version of Drew, like you said, through that frustration. So
that's why it's you almost want to keep seeing him getting fucked over because of where it's going to take the character,
how he responds, how he reacts. It's fantastic.
We're all going to celebrate his world title win tomorrow. All together.
Yeah, I'm down if he does. I'm down.
The main event.
The main event, I'm pretty sure this will be the main event, is a 6-man tag team match. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens against the Bloodline. Any 3 of the existing Bloodline. So it could be Solo, it could be Tama Tonga, it could be Loa, it could be Jacob Fatu, it could be Gu, it could be Yokozuna,
Rikishi,
it could be The Rock,
the Usos,
Rikishi.
It's all Roman Reigns.
Yeah, so that's going to be really good because the storyline is excellent, and what they did with Paul last week was excellent. So when. Not like it wasn't going to be a big pop, but when Roman comes back with Paul with him, they're probably going to have to shut the city down.
They have been begging for him ever since he left. It's so beautiful. I love it. Like, did you ever think we were going to hear "We Want Roman" chants on national TV after he left WrestleMania for every week? It's I
think we all said it before. I said whenever he started cooking, I think it was right at the end of the pandemic when they were starting to talk about what the Bloodline was and all that stuff, and I know it had to have been an Unscripted.
I'm just saying there's a time when Roman held the title and no one gave.
But I think we all were in agreement. It wasn't. I didn't say anything that was out of line. Everybody, I think, agreed. We were just like, now he's being such a great heel. When he turns face, it's going to be big. Because before it was Vince saying, "He is my face, and you guys should cheer."
Be amazing.
But then once he started, it might have been after the WrestleMania where he stacked Daniel Bryan and Edge on top of each other. I think that's when he started saying we were like, this run is so great. That when he turns back then we said this, that when he finally turns face, it's going to be epic. How do we know? 3 years later,
I even think the Tractor SummerSlam was it SummerSlam where it was Last Man Standing?
Yeah, that was SummerSlam.
Yeah.
When he did that, I was like, oh my god, he wasn't even a face then. I was just like, this is amazing. I don't even care who comes in, who does what, whatever interference. This match was incredible, and Brock put him over, man, and a Last Man Standing, and just piling everything on Brock to make sure he doesn't get up.
Austin Theory trying to cash in the Money in the Bank.
Oh, every time.
My God, that's right.
He got killed by Brock.
Yeah, and I just look at the whole thing, and I'm like, man, the Roman build is here, and to hear the crowds constantly every week going, "We want Roman," is so awesome to hear.
And like I said, I don't know. It hit me like a couple weeks ago when I said it. I was like, God, this isn't the Attitude Era. This is 80s. Because the rhythm of the 80s, yes, it was bubblegum and kind of PG in the 80s, but it was long-term. Vince was all about long-term storytelling because his television programs were stretched out. There was only 4 pay-per-views a year and all that stuff. And so wrestling sped up in the Monday Night Wars and almost it hurt it. The Wars hurt it because after WCW left and WWF was only one, they still had 1 million hours of television, to fill. And that was because the Monday Night Wars were moving so fast. I mean, just having a 3-hour Nitro, a 2-hour Thunder, a 2-hour Raw, a 2-hour SmackDown was too fucking much. And it ruined it. I think Triple H just had decades to sit back and go, you know what? We got to slow this shit down. I know we have a lot of hours of television.
That's why you don't
vignettes?
That's why, that's why you don't see some people on TV.
It's so much reminds me of the 80s. I feel that way every time I watch any storyline and the Wyatt Six and everything. They're not rushing it. They're taking their time and because they don't want to mess it up. They want to talk about how is it going to look in the ring? How are we going to make them just as creepy and captivating in the ring as we do the vignettes, hopefully without doing worms.
I mean,
or red lights.
Let me throw something at you, Jess. What do you think is a longer storyline? And I think I know the answer, but it's going to be, I think it's closer than we think. The Mega Powers exploding storyline or the Cody I want to finish the storyline? What was longer? What was a longer run?
I mean, Cody's was 2 years, but I think the Bloodline's been the longest WWE storyline.
I'm not even counting the Bloodline because that's still going, right?
Technically, you could start. Hogan and Savage started in late '87, That's when they first started like rescuing each other.
Like,
and then they didn't become the Mega Powers until SummerSlam '88, but they were together before that. They were together when Hogan helped him win the world title. They were all that. So, I mean, they really started in like late '87, and then they stopped.
It was WrestleMania 4. Yeah, since WrestleMania 4.
I think they had their last public match in '90. Hogan and Savage did.
But what's fabulous about what's fabulous about the whole thing is that Cody, when he said I'm going to come in and finish the story, and finally did it, it was I think it was over 2 years when he started that segment. And he didn't get into Roman until well after that when he won Royal Rumble.
That was his with WrestleMania in Dallas. That's when he first started saying it because that was his that was the whole reason why he came back.
Right.
Why he left AEW because he.
And then at 39 he wrestled and lost, and then he won it at 40. So you're 2
years,
2 years,
2 years,
right at 2 years. So that's
excellent storytelling.
Amazing. That hasn't happened in, like, to your point, since the Rock and Wrestling era. Like that kind of telling. That kind of time, that kind of slow burn hasn't happened. I'm here for all of it, man. I'm here for. And by the way, who does this best? Like I hate to compare it to this because people get mad, but like you talk about General Hospital, all the soaps. Someone will be pregnant for 2 years before that baby comes out. Like, and it's great storytelling.
It's a bloodline baby.
And people are like addicted to that stuff, man. Those soaps go on forever. And then all of a sudden you turn and now the kid's like, was 5, now they're 15. They fast forward 10 years somehow. But wrestling, when it can do that, and then that storyline stretches for years, people get hooked, man.
Look at all the stories. This week? All the stories they have, man.
As long as you can keep it compelling and captivating and fun, and they've been able to do that. It is. Man,
I think it's been, and the fact that we're older watching it, I think that, I think this might be the best they've ever been.
It's up there.
Is it
because the '80s was very good. And I don't get me wrong, but a lot of parents just watched. But also America was more family oriented. It's not so much, unfortunately, about family anymore. Like people don't eat at the dinner table anymore necessarily. And what I mean? But WWF back in the day was like, the parents would be, okay, we're taking you to the matches. Like now it's like kids just will independently go, you know what I mean? And if families go, that's great. But if not, it's okay. We appeal to college students. And, the Monday Night War era was so one-sided. It was just, Bischoff said, I don't care about the kids. Not, he doesn't care about kids in general. But I mean, I don't want their money.
Audience.
He couldn't win that demographic anyway.
Yeah, I want the demographic, the 18 to 49. I want the college kids and all that stuff. And he changed everything with that. And then Vince copied and followed and then did it better. And because WWF just always does, usually in the long run, they're a better built machine. And so... Yeah. But then afterwards, it just kind of became like Vince is like, let's go back to the formula. And we're like, no, we don't, let's not do that. And because they burned us out. It was too much Jerry Springer. It was too much. And I think it was so much burnout that we didn't even appreciate the Ruthless Aggression era for what it was until we look back now. I mean, I remember we loved Benoit and Angle. We loved, I even loved Triple H and Shawn Michaels, their feud back in the day. That was great. Like that bloody match they had at the Royal Rumble or whatever.
Just put me back in 2000.
They had a really good feud. So they had some really good stuff back then. The rise of Batista, the rise of Cena for the most part before he started
Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton.
Yeah, Randy Orton,
Undertaker's all them, fifth run,
him, the streak where he became, the streaks were good matches. That's when he became on that. Like every year you look for.
I mean, even Hogan.
You talk about the Jerry Springer era, and you talk about all the shock value, and just an example that I don't really care for. I don't appreciate, but it kind of deems talking about is what they did with the Divas quite a bit. It was all about being more risque and
garbage,
and every week upping that. And it was garbage, right? Now let's fast forward a little bit after we see this revolutionizing women's movement of wrestling and fantastic work. And then you see someone like Liv Morgan, who's doing this storyline, and she's being a little bit audacious to Dom, but nothing's gotten totally risque. But this is way more compelling to me. And
you almost have two promotions. Dom. You almost have two promotions in one. Instead of the cruiserweight division, you have WWE revolutionizing women's wrestling right now. So it's like it's like Vince always flopped with the cruiserweight division. And I don't know how or why he always did. He just didn't like it. So he never gave a shit. Even when they had the Cruiserweight Classic show on its own, Vince is like, whatever, just keep it out of my face.
Yeah.
Like basically, like he didn't care.
Right.
But yeah, you could do it.
If I see any of them in catering, we're taking that show apart.
If I see you in catering, but that,
and then his workers look at him. They're like, "Are we still talking about the cruiserweight division or your personal?" No, okay, never mind. And he's like, "Oh God."
Brian Kendrick.
Liv took a hotel key a few weeks ago and made it into this great TV. She didn't do anything overly risque.
No,
she was just kind of messing with Dom a little bit. She would back Dom into a corner, but like they almost don't even touch. But like it was totally different, with that Springer era stuff. But we almost got like numb to that. We're like, who cares? It's not wrestling. That sucks. Like put on something.
It's
else.
like they're in a weird.
But this is captivating. Story,
yeah, I was gonna say they're in a weird spot where it's like almost every program that every feud and storyline that's going on, you like want to see. Like you can't wait to see like Dom and Liv and like what now next segment is the Wyatt Six. Next segment is Chad Gable. What is he gonna do to Otis and all them?
And that's why I think it's better now because we were so into it in the 80s as in Cuz a little later in the 90s because we were kids, so we believed anything,
Yeah.
But like
it's still real.
Now adults, we're 40-something-year-old. How old are you now, Cuz? Jesus, you got to be 40 now.
30.
Shut the fuck up. But I mean like the fact that what adults now can follow it and they like it, is way better and more spirit than the 80s. Like the 80s had its place for storyline, but now it's like Triple H has successfully merged the Attitude Era and the 80s storytelling together. And I mean, really, I'm not saying we could have executed it, but 10 years ago, we were like, that's what we wanted. We're like, we need something that caters to
And even this past Monday, did you watch this past Monday? Like all the matches on Raw were actually pretty good. They were all.
It's totally really watchable. 3 hours is still way too goddamn long, but I mean, it's still all watchable. It's way more watchable than it was 3 years ago.
But there's almost never a bad match on Raw. Here's what I'll argue: the ones that are hard for me to watch, and it's only because the crowd isn't into it. It's the early adopter, not early adopter, but the people that are just coming out of NXT, mostly the ladies. I hate to say it. If the crowd doesn't know them, it gets so dead in there. Like the triple threat match with Zoe and the others. And it was a great match, right? It was awesome, but nobody cared.
That's how you're going to know who's standing out. That comes from NXT, who's going to be
right. Yeah, who's going to be that? Who's going to be that person? But those are the only matches. Even though technically,
I would like to think now that the audience is watching a little bit more, even though they're quiet. I think we're trying to find those moments that we connect with them at. I think 10 years ago when we heard the pin drop, people were bored off their fucking ass. But like, I think now, I think a lot of people watch more now, which is really, I love because you should. If you're going to watch pro wrestling, like, don't get me wrong, you can tune in for good matches, sure. But you got to watch.
They're actually development. They're making your favorite faction more compelling, Jess, carrying crosses.
But they're not more compelling. Listen, that's the only failure. That's the only failure.
Yeah, I like
they're beating up on Kofi Kingston.
Well, trying to get Xavier to turn.
I blame Cross
because that would actually be kind of interesting.
He can't make it work.
That would be kind of interesting.
They see something in Karrion Kross that none of us see.
The only thing, to Cuz's point, the only thing that they have on their side is the fact that Triple H likes to let it breathe.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that will save them if it happens.
I do like I like that they're trying to get Xavier to join them, and I'm actually kind of interested in that.
Yeah.
So that is a little bit more, from what they were doing before. It is a little more.
And also, I like because they are pulling at it too. Even in my least favorite storyline, I could still find stuff that I like about it.
Yeah.
Because New Day has gone on record as saying like we don't want a feud. Like we just feel like the easiest thing to do is always a New Day. Their whole thing from the beginning has been like we're never going to feud with each other, turn on each other because like every tag team does that. Tito and Martel and blah blah blah. Like we don't want to do that. Like we don't want to be the tag team partners turn, the Rockers, whatever. Like they're like we'll never do that, and they've held to their thing. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to do it. I would say if you're going to split as the New Day and have them face each other, or maybe Xavier being part of the faction and Kofi. Unfortunately, Big E's done, and that fucking sucks really bad because it'd be awesome for him to come back and
it would be.
Rescue Kofi. That'd be great. But yeah, like it. That really sucks.
I love on the pre-shows. So
yeah, but yeah, like even on that storyline, like if the structure's there, even the most average storyline is still interesting because they're telling a story and there's an arc to it. There's a point to it. They're trying to get Xavier to turn. I can understand that and jump into that.
I think still being valid after all this time is pretty incredible.
I think. Well, no, I think
Cross disappoints me. I'm disappointed.
I think they're
playing
a lot
of hope for him.
I think they're playing off on what everyone has discovered ever since he came back. When he first came back after Triple H took over, how people pointed out anyone that cross paths with Drew McIntyre, Roman, AJ, all of them, their empire starts slowly slipping away or like turning heel. Drew McIntyre, AJ turning heel. Roman Reigns, that was when the whole Sami Zayn started to fall apart, that whole thing. So they're kind of playing off that. Like now he's going after Xavier and kind of doing the same thing to him.
And by the way, let me be clear. It's not Cross's fault. It's Vince's fault. Vince killed him.
For originally. Yeah.
And people don't forget. Yeah, Vince killed him.
But like, to be fair, also, this has to be, because this is in Cross's like wheelhouse. Like this is the style that he likes as far as the character and stuff. So he better actually fucking pull it off. So he, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he still should.
He's more like he's more the guy who he wants to be right now than.
And I like
he's more of the NXT. Yeah,
AOP.
The NXT guy was a little bit more gothy than he usually was.
Yeah,
I like the NXT guy. I like the presentation. I like the presentation.
And I love AOP too, man.
AOP, dude, in NXT, man.
AOP was good.
God, their fucking matches were bangers. Can we give
some more work, please? Oh
go back.
And they're huge.
Go back and watch their match with Chad Gable and Jason Jordan when they were the American Alpha. Oh my God.
Oh
my God.
Miss that guy. Yeah.
Dude, those matches. I know Jason Jordan.
I was watching that match live when he hit the turnbuckle or whatever, and he messed up his head and neck.
Yeah.
I was watching that match live, and he sat down on the outside and tried to get back in, and the animators just walked away. I'm like, is this story? Like he was really hurt. He was.
Yeah,
really
it's so sad.
Hurt.
He was so talented.
It was brutal to see that. He fucked his neck up forever, you know. And
hey, the talent's there. We all know the talent's all there.
It's great to know that he's actually working with matches in the back for big events and stuff.
And speaking of NXT, just remember too, Sunday they also have NXT Heatwave. So we got a doubleheader weekend of WWE pay-per-views.
Yeah, I thought it was next week. Cuz reminded me that it was this weekend.
There's gonna be some great bangers on
injuries. Do we have a?
And we're in a heat wave in Southern California. Let me fucking tell you.
I hate to say it, but it's time now. I'm not a Charlotte fan in particular, but I'm kind of excited to see if she's doing the knee work. Do we have a timeline? I sent you guys that a few weeks back. Like she was gunning on her knee, dude. Like doing the the resistance machine, and just destroying that machine. I was like,
well, that's good.
It feels like she's coming back soon.
We need to get her back.
Even though they're injuries that you don't wish on anyone, that's the kind of cool off that I like. So when they come back, like I was sick of Charlotte for so long. I'm like, oh, she's gonna come back and win a title. And
now it's gonna be more interesting.
That's fucking wonderful.
Her and Tiffy time or tear the house down. Her and
that
Tiffy
would be
Stratton.
Great.
Yeah,
that'd be wonderful.
We're both just gonna fucking swanton and moonsault on each other like all day.
And
the world's gonna blow up.
And new thing for me, Bailey. I follow Bailey on Insta. And I didn't know Bailey can juggle. She was juggling and chugging Austin Brews.
I love Bailey.
I was like, awesome. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Another person who found herself.
Like,
she had a great gimmick in the beginning. The hugger, like, was all fine and everything, and then like just you find yourself.
I miss Heel Bailey a little bit. I loved how it
paid off,
I
do.
I miss Heel Bailey a little bit.
That's the point, right? Like the payoff to become a great babyface. I
just love every time, like she'd just be like, "Shut up, Michael Cole!" Like, no matter what. Like,
Michael, you stupid idiot.
She should still do that. That's kind of I think. Like you can still be
she still does talk shit to Michael Cole sometimes.
You know what's funny is I think she finds him incredibly endearing, and that's why she does that.
Oh yeah,
he laughs all the time at it too. It's so
they
funny.
all do. You want to know why? And they all should pay respect to him because he took the biggest beating in his ear every fucking week.
Feels so
like
bad
forever, and never left, and just fearlessly, like a fearless leader, showed up and like took care of it. I think he's the most free and liberated one out of all of them right now.
Oh, he's loving it.
He's just kind of like
he's having more fun than anybody right now. Like he's having.
They all love saying professional wrestling.
I guarantee you, like it's sort of like fuck.
Professional wrestling.
Triple H is like he's like, hey Michael, if you get a second, can you mention that he's a 3-time champion? That'd be awesome. Like he's getting like that kind of feedback. Like it's got to be totally different. Just and sometimes like I don't know if you guys saw it too. It was all over Insta this week. Sometimes stuff just gets leaked when Triple H is in Gorilla and Roman yelled like, "This is my show," and Triple H is like, "God damn!" Like he started laughing in Gorilla. He thought it was hilarious. He loved it. Just watching those reactions. It's got to be totally different. Vince probably wouldn't even react to that. Like, I don't know if I like that. Like, shut up, dude. Like that was
Roman
horseshit.
That was a great
Stay to the script,
bro.
Roman.
Like, yeah, stick to the script. Tell him to stick to the script. Right. And Triple H he just chuckled and said, "God damn, like that was awesome."
It's the best time.
It's a different vibe, man.
See, and that was the thing that Ryback
horse how different it is, but
that was the thing that when Ryback was talking about Jericho, that insider was talking about Jericho and Triple H kind of not getting along, butting heads or whatever or stuff. Even Ryback was like, he said, "Yeah, he did the same to me." He's all when under Vince, he's all my creative was good. He's all, but when Triple H took over, anytime he Vince wasn't there and Triple H was in charge, He's like, I remember like we had this whole thing planned out with the Wyatts. He's like, and then Triple H changed it and he had them beat me instead. And I was supposed to go over and I'm like, well, maybe that was actually the right decision on that one. Like,
right, yeah.
You want to push the Wyatts at that point.
But
I mean, he was hot too, though. That's the thing. He was hot too.
How does he know, though? How does he know that Vince wasn't a part of that decision? He doesn't know that. He has no fucking clue. Like Triple H was just the face that probably had to give him the news. Like, I don't know. Like, he only knows so much, and he, in my opinion, I don't think he ever went back and tried to dispute something creatively. That's on him. Like, that's all on him. Like,
well, he did say that Vince gave him the creative the day before, and then when he wasn't there the next day, when they said, "Oh, Triple H is taking over now. This is your new creative."
How many times has that happened though?
But
where Vince like, "Oh,
yeah,
you tell him. I don't want to tell him. You tell him." Like, you know, that shit happened all the time. Like,
but he wasn't necessarily mad at Triple H. He's all Triple H is hard. Like he'll, you know, if he sees it differently, he wasn't like saying that like to be like fuck Hunter. Like it was more like he's because of how Jericho didn't like, you know, Hunter's creative.
You know why
he was basically bringing it up for that.
You know why people don't like Triple H? Because Triple H played the long game in so many ways. You can talk about how he married Stephanie, blah blah blah. But the thing about Triple H is he's very much like Jericho. If he doesn't like something, he doesn't.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to go to VCAM and say, "Hey, why don't we do something different? Why don't we do something else?
Or we're gonna do
you know?
this, yeah.
Or can we just
We are gonna
alter
do this
a little
different.
bit? They'd come to an agreement and make it work. And then when Vince would do stupid shit, he'd be like, "And that's it. Shut up. That's the way it's gonna be." Okay, boss. Okay, dad. Whatever. And then he bided his time, and he found a way to get in there. And now he's running the whole damn show. And that's why some people just don't like him. I'm like, you know what, man? You got to give that guy a ton of credit for putting up with all that shit as a performer.
I did a long time ago. Listen, like
you did. I agree with you, but a lot of people.
There's
don't.
only room in my heart
go.
for. There's only room in my heart for one pure hatred, and that's Sean. So he has my heart on that. And he never, even though I love Sean's work in NXT, I think he's killing it.
And Sean wasn't afraid to go to Vince either and say this.
You would say the ultimate.
And
Warrior,
Sean,
right?
Sean and Vince or Sean and Triple H are on the phone all the time, like like sharing ideas.
100%.
So.
Yeah. And NXT, I mean,
you know,
look no further than
Sean,
that.
We all know why.
So
Sean
fucking. It's so crazy to go watch a Raw in '97 where they're stuffing kielbasa sausages down their fucking tights, and then those two would be running professional wrestling in 2024. I mean, running the shit out of it.
Yeah, and making it the best.
And by the way, just
so crazy.
Sean, the whole reason why Sean got the lead way he got is eventually, especially after, was the whole thing with Brett. Like at the end of the day, he had to sit there and lie to everybody, and Vince asked him to lie, and Sean said, "I will do that for you. I will do this for you, and then I'll hold this secret forever."
Don't give him credit. What was he gonna do? Nothing. Of course he was gonna do it.
Of course.
I don't know, man. Like
he wins the title.
Said, hey.
He wins the goddamn title, and then Vince lied to him too and said, "You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be my champion forever. I love you." And then when Austin got out, he's like, "Austin." He's like, "What do you mean, Austin?
How was that?
What do you mean, Austin?
Was that like a year
My
later?
back hurts. Then I'm out of here.
Vince's
I'm out of here.
tone was Stone Cold theme song. Sean was like, "Hey, what? You changed it for mine?"
I don't know. All I'm saying is that's why Vince catered him forever, and Sean could always come back whenever because Sean did that for him.
Change it from
That's
Shawn
all I'm
Michaels.
saying.
You've always been my favorite. Now let me open up my laptop and the screensaver is like Austin.
So
like he's like,
he's like, what's that, fuck? Vince? Hey.
Vince,
Yeah.
Vince said that to everyone and then when he's done with you, he's like, "Fuck off." That's why I look.
Does Sean sound like a little bit of a pit bull? Hey,
just I kickstand. Sorry, like when he super kicks.
What? Like just his quick what? Like in the background.
What? Hey,
what? Hey.
Oh man.
Yeah, and
it must be somebody else's laptop.
They're writing and they're writing the best stuff right now, man. Even
Oh yeah.
I love Drew McIntyre. Which did you hear the diss he did to Jay on SmackDown?
He's going to be
yes.
Oh my God, he said he's on. How did you get across the border? My wife actually asked the question. She's like, "How did he get across the border?" I think it's so many years, right? After
it's the other brother that's in all the trouble.
Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy. Jimmy's
Jimmy's the DUI king. Yeah.
So why did Drew ask Jay that?
They might have both gotten in trouble when they were younger, like together.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but it was
how
Jimmy.
Did you cross the border?
Jimmy
That shit was fucking funny, dude.
Yeah.
He's the best. He's the crown champion.
He called what he called Andrade because Andrade is a El Idilio and he's all El Idiot. He's all that's you're El Idiot. Yeah, he was good. He was good.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess
he'll be a champion within the year again. He might lose it right away. I don't care. It's fine.
It's the best.
It's all fun.
Bullshit.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not gonna watch.
I don't want him to lose it, but if he does, it's gonna make for a great story.
it's just it's gonna continue their CM Punk.
All I'm saying. It'll be. He's the best when he's in turmoil. When he's like, I quit, and then he turns off all his socials. I'm like, well, that was
screw this stupid company.
That was gonna happen.
Yeah, we know he wasn't quitting though. The Rock sent him a sword for dinner. You know, or whatever. You know.
Pal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So good. Yeah, we're in a golden age, guys.
Yeah. We're in a golden age.
4th of July.
Jess might say this is the best time in wrestling ever, and I never thought we'd say that.
I think it is.
It's the best time. It's the golden era, golden age of wrestling again.
I mean, when you look back, you know, like certain periods are only like, yeah, Hogan had a long reign in the 80s, but like really, it started even us as fans, right? Like, even though the Warrior came in and shook things up in 90 and all that stuff, like, you know, it was different. It was getting softer. We look back now and the business was starting to get soft in 90, 91, 92. Right. We just didn't see it. Like, because we were kids still. So we're like, no, this is the 80s. This is Macho Man. This is Hogan. This is Warrior. This is Piper. There's no way. There's no way. And like, but it happened. And then we suffered through the Depression. And wrestling came back great in certain aspects. That, you know, the Attitude Era was what it was. It was competition. That was really the main point of the Attitude Era, was competition. And I don't call it the Attitude Era. I call it the Monday Night Wars, because without WCW, there would have been no Attitude Era. So I think that's
all true.
But I think that on a grand thing, and ECW played a part in that as well, because ECW was doing like schmutty stuff in like 95, 96, 97. Like, but I mean, they were on a super small scale. But yeah, I think now, but that was just one side of things. And if you didn't like smut television, and which a lot of people did back then, obviously, because the ratings were so huge, you didn't like wrestling like back then. But now I think that if you are a lapsed fan, I think now is the time to hook those people back, and I think that to get these long-term fans back that are used to long-term storylines, you're not going to drop fans quick, right? Like when it was Attitude Era and everything was fast, all these hours of television, so much, and a pay-per-view every month and all that. Like you once you stop being hip and cool, the casuals are like, see ya, because it's just your yesterday's news. But now, like, I think that as they're building their audience, even without the Bloodline storyline, they'll find another one they'll transition. I mean, the Bloodline storyline will go on for a long time.
Still going.
Like now they'll transition to something else, and they'll keep the type of storytelling that Triple H is doing is going to preserve this company for a long time. And even if they dip a tad, they'll never free fall. They'll dip like every business does. And they'll come up out of it and then they'll dip. Like, so that's, I think, the best business model right now. Everything looks super healthy, like in WWE. There's really no negative golden I can see about it, you know? Yeah, they're never going to hit storylines. I might disagree with some outcomes and finishes. Who fucking cares what I think? Like, as long as everything else keeps going with the storyline, and as long as, you know, the characters are developed, and, you know, people that we know work hard, like the Chad Gables and Braun Breakers, get their fucking chance, that's all I care. And Sami Zayn, and, you know, all of our favorites, Sami Zayn, like, we're good now. We're fine.
Money in the Bank, other than, I mean, I'm sure Rollins and Priest will be good, because, you know, Rollins and Priest are pretty good. Every other match could be
out of all the 5-card goddamn matches that they've shoved down my throat like this year or whatever. Like, I think this pay-per-view is going to be an A.
Any match has the potential to be match of the year or match of the night.
Yeah,
match of the night.
I think tomorrow's going to be fucking stellar.
The Bloodline match with RKO and Cody, that's going to be great. The men's ladder match is going to be great. The women's ladder match is going to be great. The fucking Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn
match. Men's opens it up, you think?
That probably yeah. I would say so because of what's main eventing, maybe. So.
Yeah, it's just how they've done it. They've always done it. They've seen, you know, I feel like even the men's Royal Rumble opened up during Royal Rumble, almost like it's weird. Like but Money in the Bank, the men's always seems to open up. Like So and
spot opener.
Put the ladies somewhere in the middle to or second to last before the title match, but
it's gonna be banger after banger tomorrow.
See. Sammy loses, right? That's the dark horse prediction.
I don't know. I think Samuel will take it.
Yeah, because it almost feels like they want him to run a little bit longer, since he is the one that began the.
We got Drew and Tiffy, right? That's what we're thinking.
I'm going Drew Tiffy.
And then the dark horse is Chelsea, but who's the dark horse for the Money in the Bank men?
No, it's just Drew. That's it.
Maybe
like there's
maybe Carmelo.
Nope.
Maybe Carmelo, but I don't know.
I don't see Carmelo. Not yet. He'll do some great stuff in there, but
yeah,
it's too soon. Yeah.
I guess we'll
Obviously. And does the Bloodline win in a schmoz?
Dark Horse. Dark Horse might be Uso.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, Jay maybe.
Yeah, Jake could be the other one. Yeah.
Bloodline will win because that the youngest brother will debut tomorrow. The 6'8".
The enforcer will come in.
The 6'8" guy. Haliki.
Oh.
Is he the?
Oh my.
Is he the one that hasn't come in yet, or is he?
Yeah, he's the one that hasn't came in yet from New Japan.
Yeah, so they're gonna lose.
Jacob Fatu is there now.
It doesn't hurt those three to lose that match, and prolonging the Bloodline story until Roman gets back. That's what it's all about.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
That's gonna be great.
Yeah,
we're in for some great pro wrestling all weekend. NXT Heatwave on Sunday.
NXT on Sunday. Don't forget. And where would Craig say he wants to see us at?
I guess he would see us at the match.
See you guys at the store.
Oh, yeah. I'll see you at the store.
See you at the mall.
Unscripted.
At the matches.